Hi guys, this is Jojo from SC2 News, and this is episode 1 of SC2 Behind the Scenes. Today I'm talking to Ben Burdett, who is a volunteer moderator on Teamliquid.net, and we'll talk a bit about what it takes to run a site like TL and what's going on behind the scenes. You may know him as motbob closing one of your threads. A warm welcome to Ben. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me on this show.
No problem. Thanks for coming. First of all, I would like to ask you a bit about yourself. Tell us who you are, where do you live, what do you do when you don't approve streams or close threads on Teamliquid?
Well, I live in Tennessee in the United States. I'm a 22-year-old college student. When I'm not closing threads on Teamliquid, I'm usually playing EVE or watching StarCraft, just like a normal StarCraft 2 fan.
Mm-hmm. How did you first take notice of StarCraft 2, and do you play yourself?
Well, back in 2008, the TSL, the very first Teamliquid Star League, was getting a lot of popularity all over the internet in places like Pure Ownage and sites like that. And that was the first professional StarCraft that I had ever watched, the very first Brood War Teamliquid Star League. And I had never actually played the game. After a while of watching professional StarCraft, both in the foreign scene and the Korean scene, I dabbled a little bit in Brood War, was really terrible at it, and but my experience with watching Brood War sort of gave me a passion for the sport that carried over into StarCraft 2, and I just haven't stopped watching streams and enjoying StarCraft content ever since 2008.
Mm-hmm. And how much are you playing now? If
Well, I got to Diamond in StarCraft 2, and then I just quit, so I haven't played much StarCraft 2 at all since about a month after release.
All right. There's a lot of stuff on Teamliquid, but tell us a little bit about how to become a moderator and what kind of expertise is required.
To become a moderator, you pretty much have to be a forum veteran for starters. Most moderators that haven't been really long-time vets. Most moderators, there's usually, I guess I'll start over. There are two pathways to becoming a moderator. One is just being around the site and posting really well for your entire tenure. Or if you're newer, you can get notice to becoming a moderator by making really good reports. Now, for those of you who might not know what a report is, users on Teamliquid who are older than a year, who have been on the site for more than a year, can actually report other posts that they think should be moderated, essentially. And if you do a good job of reporting objectionable posts, the Teamliquid staff might take notice of that and ask you to become a moderator. So don't spam our report box with really bad reports, but if you want to become a moderator, you should pay attention to what other people are posting and try to bring bad posts to the moderator's attention.
Mm-hmm. And for yourself, were you a Teamliquid veteran, or did you just report very well?
Well, I was a Teamliquid veteran, and I was also on staff before I became a moderator. I was a writer for a little while before that, so I already knew a lot of the staff, and they knew that I was a pretty good poster, and it just sort of happened one day that I got a PM in my inbox saying, "Would you like to be a Banling?" And I said, "Okay."
All right. So tell us a little bit about what exactly it is you do on Teamliquid.
All right. Well, first of all, I moderate, as we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I close threads and I ban people, and I warn people for objectionable posts. The second thing is that I run the calendar. I help run the calendar system.
Mm-hmm.
Users on Teamliquid can submit events that they want to appear on the TL calendar, and if it's above a certain prize pool or if it has notable enough players, we approve the event and it shows up for everyone to see. Mm-hmm. The third thing that I do, less than I used to, but still a little bit, is I'm active on the writing staff. Mm-hmm. When someone posts an article or is looking to post an article, they'll usually post it in the writing forum for other people to take a look at and make recommendations. So if I want to contribute to the writing staff, I can either write an article of my own, like a part of a big GSL article or something like that, or I can help other people with their articles by revising. So that's basically what I do.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but it would be great if you could explain it again. The structure of Teamliquid, like the hierarchy of the Teamliquid staff, as in admins, moderators, etc. How is Teamliquid structured?
Well, the admins are at the very top. They have pretty much unlimited power and can do whatever they want, as in promoting users and demoting users and things like that. Moderators, I guess I shouldn't use the term moderators.
Mm-hmm.
Colored names are the next step. People with blue names or red names on Teamliquid are people who have contributed to the site over a long period of time and have gained recognition because of that. Below that is sort of normal staff. Below colored names is the standard staff level, which is anyone who writes, anyone who makes graphics, anyone who, any Banlings. Those are all normal staff. And then there's trial staff who don't have an icon but are still doing official work for the site, like writing articles and making graphic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Fishu, who some of you might know, was making really cool graphics for Teamliquid during this past GSL season. But she didn't have an icon until just a few days ago. Now she's got an icon and she's full staff.
Mm-hmm. All right. When we talked about the structure of Teamliquid, you also told me that most of the people work as volunteers. What inspires you to do what you do for absolutely no paycheck?
Well, it all comes from the passion that you have for the game and the sport. If you didn't care a lot about StarCraft 2, there's no way you would put in hours and hours and hours of work into making Teamliquid a better place. There's also an element of pride in being a part of the best eSports site and the biggest eSports site on the internet. I think Teamliquid is the biggest eSports site in Korea and internationally for any esport at all. And that's a really cool thing to be a part of that. For longtime staff, it's been really satisfying to see something that started off pretty small grow into something so huge after the StarCraft 2 beta came out. It's nice to see all the hard work, the years and years of hard work, pay off into something this amazing.
Mm-hmm. With that, I mean, with this new, this big increase in fame pretty much for StarCraft 2 and esports in general, Teamliquid has been, flooded with lots and lots of new people. Do you think that can be a problem sometimes? Do you have many more moderators? Are your policies a bit stricter, etc., to compensate for that?
It certainly has its advantages and disadvantages. It makes moderating a lot more difficult, although the report system helps with that a lot. But it also leads to a huge increase in the amount of good content. So you got to take the good with the bad. For every amazing YouTube parody video, of a StarCraft 2 song, you've got 10 terrible troll posters that are ruining the forums. So we're doing our best to keep the good but get rid of the bad, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it as well. I know you have staff forums. Can you tell us what the trending topics are in the staff forums, or is that off limits?
Oh, the trending topics?
Yeah.
One interesting topic has been the responsibility of Teamliquid or the Teamliquid staff to verify news sources and make sure that something that's posted inaccurately, like say the Puma situation, doesn't get out of hand. In other words, the question is, could the Puma situation way back months ago have been avoided? And some of the stuff is really interesting like that. And some of the stuff is really uninteresting, like, do we ban people for making stupid puns? I mean, when the general line from Teamliquid staff when asked what goes on in the TL staff forums is, it's incredibly boring. If you saw it, you would be let down hugely. And that's mostly true. So there's nothing really interesting that goes on in the staff forums, unfortunately.
Okay, so I'm coming back to the puns thing. I'm going to interview Rich tomorrow. And I was thinking, for the post title, that is rich, would that be banned?
I don't think our policy would ban you, but I might ban you personally because of how terrible that is.
Okay. All right. And just in general now, how are policies debated and implemented on Teamliquid?
Generally, if a new policy becomes evident, like if a new problem arises and it becomes clear that we need to do something about it, there's usually a week or less of intense discussion in the staff forums, and then the policy is implemented, and it usually isn't changed. Mm-hmm. For example, our live report thread policy, that sort of took shape slowly during the last part of 2010, when GSL threads started getting out of hand. Mm-hmm. But we really started having a problem with MLG threads and these big international events where everyone was awake and everyone was posting horribly. So we had to make a thread in the mod forum and decide what we wanted to make acceptable and unacceptable. And after that discussion was over, we had our policy of no caster bashing, no player bashing, no anything like that. So that's basically how it works when it comes to making new policies. For more complicated stuff, like advertising policies, discussion can keep going for a really long time. Featured threads, discussion on who's featured and who's not is obviously ongoing and won't ever stop. But for things like live report thread policies, it's usually a short discussion and then that's it.
Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of discussion about how pro players should be treated on TL. A lot of them have either stopped or drastically reduced their interaction on TL due to the fact that, I mean, they often get picked out and argued against just for the sake of it. Right. Do you see that as well, and what's your opinion on it?
It's sort of inevitable. Mm-hmm. Whenever Day9 makes a post, he gets quoted 20 times. I mean, that's just not really conducive to a good posting experience for someone who's a celebrity like that. I've always wondered if Day9 or Artosis have Smurf accounts that they post on, just so they can hold a normal conversation on the forums. Because if they post on their main accounts, things would just get crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible for pro posting to be encouraged. I don't think there's a good solution for that. If there was a good solution, I think we would have already figured it out. We've talked about the concept of having sort of pros-only forum, but for various reasons that hasn't really been seen as a good idea.
Yeah.
There's enough good content on Teamliquid, I think, from high-level players, even if they aren't celebrities, that makes sort of really high-level pro gaming posting unnecessary. Like, for example, there was a thread recently spotlighted on Teamliquid, this really excellent guide on how to win. And it's just so amazing. It's better than I think any pro gamer could take time out of their day to write. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's just enough good content on Teamliquid for this not to be such a big issue.
All right, I will put the link to that thread in the video description. And I've talked to a few players recently, and a lot of them are actually wondering how they can get their streams featured on Teamliquid. Tell us a little bit about the selection process.
The selection process, I haven't actually checked the thread recently, but the selection process at one point went like this. It wasn't by committee. There was one person who did the selecting, and I won't give out his name for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. But it was designed to be a consistent process. For example, if we featured one excellent female pro gamer who's like top level for a female, we should probably feature this other equally good, female pro gamer just to be consistent. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's very difficult to sort of set a line that says if you do better than this, you'll get featured. Mm-hmm. It's really, really hard to. 4GG, like, there are some obvious features. Like, when 4GG started streaming, okay, alright, bam, featured, no discussion.
Definitely.
But then there are these borderline people like, lower-level EG players, for example. Do they get featured?
Mm-hmm.
Axelab is really helpful on his stream. He probably gets featured. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do to increase your chances of being featured. Like, for example, you can interact with your viewers in such a way that makes you really popular. You can provide really excellent strategy help to your viewers when discussing replays and stuff like that. There are a lot of ways to increase the value of your stream enough so that you can catch the attention of whoever's doing the evaluating of streams.
Okay.
So I can't give a specific answer to that, but I can say that maybe being creative is one of the best things you can do.
Yeah, but there is not something like a form you have to fill in with. No,
nothing like that.
Okay, perfect. What does it take, in your opinion, to make a good thread on TL? For me especially, I think there's a very distinct difference between content on sites like Reddit and content on sites like TL. What is a good thread, in your opinion?
Well, let's take a look at the recent spotlighted threads on Teamliquid. So I'm going to open up my browser and just browse on over.
Mm-hmm.
Really, when looking at threads, the difference between a good thread and a bad thread is effort.
Mm-hmm.
If you're posting a link and a YouTube video into a thread and then saying, okay, guys, this is awesome, discuss this, it's going to get closed pretty much immediately. If you write an awesome guide, it might not get closed, it might get spotlighted instead. If you spend a really long time on your thread and do a lot of thinking about what you're writing, then that's almost automatically a good thread, unless you're, well, I guess I won't finish that thought, but it's really the amount of time that you put into the original post that makes a good thread or not. That's really all it is.
All right. I was just browsing through the spotlighted threads as well. How often do you post yourself? As in, can you shake off the moderator and just browse for fun?
Oh yeah. I usually don't even think about the fact that I'm a moderator when I'm posting on Teamliquid.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of staff don't usually post that much on Teamliquid anymore because it's sort of crowded compared to how it used to be. But when I post as, motbob. I don't post as a Teamliquid Banling or anything like that. I have to hold myself to a higher standard because I'm representing Teamliquid whenever I post. But that doesn't mean I can't have fun or anything while I'm posting. I don't feel discouraged to post or anything like that because I'm staff.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much post normally, yeah.
All right. Last question. Did you get one of the new TL shirts, and if so, which one?
I have my old TL shirt, my winged horse shirt from a few years ago, so I don't need a new one.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for a very insightful interview. Is there anything else you want to say?
Shout out to every single person on TL staff. You guys do so much work, and it makes the site great. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.